What's good, everybody? Isn't I coming back at you another video? So this video is going to be about mindset and perspective, and I titled this video "Everything in Life is a Gift" because it's true, right? And when I'm referring to everything, I'm referring to all things, events, and people, everything that we experience in life. However, the focus of this video is going to be about the events of our lives, right? Because events are not good or bad; they just are, right? The events just are, and yet people have a tendency to categorize things as either, good or bad. And oftentimes this categorization happens because people normally try to minimize as much usage of brain power as possible. So it's very easy to just say, oh, something that happened was good or bad. But life, you need to remember that life is not black and white. It's not just because it's about perspective. Because even the events that are quote unquote bad or seen as bad, right? You can still find good in it. You can still find a way that it's benefited you and helped you, because the events don't happen to you, they happen for you, for your growth, for your betterment, etc., right? So this video I want to share in this video I'm going to share personal stories that happened in my life, right? That I'm sure you'll be able to understand and relate to, right? Like the first example that I can give is, let's just say you wake up and it's dark outside. It's gloomy, as people would say, and it's raining cats and dogs, right? Most people will wake up, let's just say this is back then when we were younger, going to school, right? Most people look outside, look out the window, and immediately tell themselves that they don't feel like getting up, that they don't feel like going to school, that today is a bad day, right? They'll label it as a bad day already, simply because it's dark outside and it's raining, right? People label it as a gloomy day and say it's a bad day, right? When in actuality, that is not necessarily the case, right? And at least looking back on my life, I've had a lot of great days that were dark and raining outside, right? That most people will label as gloomy days. I've had a lot of great days on those days because as a kid, right, you would go to school on those days, and then when, it'll be a normal class size of 20 students, only 10 students will show up. And so because there's only half the class there, the teacher, essentially would feel compelled to keep it a lighter day because at least half the students are not there. And to me, those ended up being fun days because those were more chill, relaxing days. And there was also that feeling of relaxation whenever you would hear the rain hit the window or the air conditioner, right? Because it was almost sort of like white noise. And I like it. It relaxes me even when I'm going to sleep. Like that just helps me go to sleep, right? So, and I know you watching this video, you understand, right? Because most people, they'll wake up and have the same thought process, the same idea. It's like, oh my God, it's such a nasty day outside. It's a bad day. I don't want to go. And so they completely judge their entire day, and they're willing to just throw that day away because of how the weather looks outside, when it can very well end up being a very fun and relaxing and chill day. And I've had many days in my life where that was the case, right? And I'm sure you've probably experienced days like that as well, right? So it's silly to think that people would throw away a precious day over that, right? Another example that I can give, I remember there was once a time where my friends and I, we had plans to go to a water park. And as we're looking at the weather forecast, we're seeing that there's a chance to rain. Now, of course, most adults, like adults, right, they'll see that and say, okay, well, we'll just, postpone it and save it for another day. But us young adults, we look at that weather and we say, okay, well, we're definitely going, right? Because think about it, if we're going to a water park, then we're gonna be wet. And so if it rains, it shouldn't really matter, right? Like, of course, you don't want to get cold, because if you're wet and outside all the time, of course, you might get cold and potentially sick, right? But it was still a pretty warm day, so we decided to go. So for the entire morning, things were cool. And then in the afternoon, that's when it began drizzling. And, for us, it didn't really matter because we were at the water park anyway. So we had a blast. And it was so much fun because the rain itself added so much character to the day, because I've never experienced going to a water park while it was raining and still having an amazing, like, I've just never experienced that. And it ended up being so much fun because that added another layer to just how the day unfolded, right? And it just made it a blast. Like it just made it so much more fun. And even though I probably walked away from that day with, a very minor cold, right? Probably because obviously water park water is different from rainwater, right? Some people get sick from rainwater, right? Because we don't know where that water is coming from. Nonetheless, it was all worth it, and I would definitely do it again if I had the opportunity. So it's like a day that people will say, "Oh, it's a bad day," rain is gonna ruin everything. It's like we still had fun, and I think I had more fun on that day being cloudy and rainy because it was something that I've never experienced before than I would have just going on a regular sunny day, right? Because this was a brand new experience that I just never thought I'd be a part of, and ended up being so much fun. So this is what I mean, how everything in life is a gift, because if you look hard enough, you can find something about it that's beneficial. Now, I'm probably going to bring up another example that some of you guys are curious about. So you're probably thinking, hey, Joel, how is waiting in line for a long time a gift? Or how is sitting in traffic for a long time a gift? Because these things are miserable experiences. Now, I get it. I understand, right? I'm human. I can see why events like that are undesirable. However, you can still make it a fun time, right? If you're waiting in line, you can look around and appreciate the environment, appreciate the people there, or you can take that time to begin dream building, right? You can take that time to begin thinking about the things that you want to experience in your life. Or maybe you can use that as an opportunity to say, okay, well, I'll probably wait a long time in line at this event here. Say you're in the Department of Motor Vehicles because you're trying to get a new ID or a license, right? And you have to wait an hour, 2 hours in line, whatever. You can tell yourself, you know what? After I get done with here, I'm going to reward myself with ice cream. And then that can have you so excited, because then you're probably thinking about all the different ice cream flavors that exist. You're probably thinking about, the ice cream shop that you're going to go to, right? Or, here in New York City, we have so many options. So like you can probably get lost on Google Maps trying to figure out which spot you're going to go to and what you're going to order, right? Like you can find ways to make the time go by. Like most people might just like play on their phone, whatever, but you can find ways to make the time go by, or you can spark up a conversation with someone else. Because I know in the year 2025, it's not as common for strangers to talk to one another, right? Back then it was probably more common when people didn't have cell phones. So, and it might be strange to speak with some person you've never met before, but that can also be a great time as well to pass time, to get to know someone new, right? So, and the same idea if you're stuck in traffic, right? Like I've heard that some people actually enjoy being in traffic because then they can just relax. They can just bring down the window, listen to music, kick their feet up, or once again, also dream build, or use that time to just call some people and check up on people that you haven't spoken to in a while, right? Like you don't have to have the time feel like wasted time. People dislike waiting in line or sitting in traffic because they just feel that it's wasted time. But you can actually use that time for something beneficial, right? So this is what I mean. Like even in what most people would deem as undesirable events, you can still find the good in it. You can still have fun, right? There's infinite number of other examples, right? Let's just say, for example, you say you're a righty, right? The video will probably show my left hand, right? Because whatever. But let's just say you are a righty, because this right here is my right hand, right? Regardless of what you see on the screen. Let's just say you injure your right hand. Say this is your dominant hand and you injure your right hand and your right hand is in a cast, right? Most people will say that is a bad event. Of course, generally undesirable, right? I don't think anyone would like to hurt themselves, or if they're in a cast, right, their mobility is hindered and the usage with their arm is hindered. But sometimes some of you might work an occupation where you need both your arms, and if you're in a cast, you have to take time off from work, right? If you're in that position, then that can be a good thing, because then you'll use your non-dominant hand more often to get more accustomed to using it, right? Because most people are not ambidextrous, right? You can use your offhand more often to get used to it. You can also spend more time with your dog, or you can go for walks, or spend more time with family, or do things that you wanted to do that you felt you didn't have the time to do back then, because maybe in your current occupation you work a ridiculous number of hours, but now since you're forced to kind of be on vacation until you heal up, you can now do the things that you've always wanted to do. Maybe you might learn a new skill. Maybe you might start reading books, right? Maybe you might start, I don't know, you might pick up something new, right? You might decide to learn something, whatever it is, right? Everything in life, you have the opportunity to find the good in it, or right, or the other side too. Some people are just trained to find the negative in every situation. There's some people that are just negative is what they're automatically set on. Something happens and they immediately think of all the negative, right? There are plenty of people who are guilty of it, and you might be someone that's guilty of it too. The goal is to train yourself out of it, because I understand if you're in your teens or 20s, 30, however long you've been on this earth, right? There are likely some thoughts or beliefs that you have that have been conditioned because of your environment, because of people around you, that are faulty beliefs and faulty thoughts, right? And some people being negative, that is what they've been conditioned. And some people are not aware of it or haven't been aware of it unless it's been pointed out. And so this video is to highlight this to you, that everything in your life that happens is a gift, and it may take some time if you're not used to it, but if you train yourself to find the good in each and every situation, then you can actually find the good, and anything and everything that happens in your life can actually be good, right? You don't have to settle for things just being negative, right? You don't have to. You can see the good in each and every situation, right? You can find at least something that's beneficial to you. You can find how something can work in your favor, because what you need to remember is this: even in the quote unquote bad events, they're still good, because even if something seems bad, in the bad, in the loss, in the failure, you now have the opportunity to reinvent yourself. There's a reason why some people, not all, but there's a reason why some people need to hit rock bottom, or have hit rock bottom in their lives, before they were able to bounce back and live a life that's financially abundant and abundant in all areas. Because when they hit rock bottom, that was their moment where they accepted that I'm already here, I'm already at the bottom, there's nothing else for me to do besides go up and win, right? Because I already lost it. I've lost everything. I've lost it all. There's not, like, I had no other route but to go up, right? And people will say, oh, you hit rock bottom, that's bad. And I know, ideally, most people don't want to be there. I get it. I'm human. But that seemingly bad event can be the catalyst to trigger you to be great, right? Because you can hit rock bottom and be so furious that it's happening in your life that you make up your mind that you are going to be successful by any means, right? That it's going to happen. And that could be a level of conviction that you've never had prior to that experience, right? Because maybe you were just living afloat the entire time, and you know that you were unhappy being afloat, but like you talked yourself into thinking that that was okay. And then rock bottom happens, and so now, because rock bottom happened, you're saying, you know what, I'm gonna win in life. I don't know how it's gonna happen, but I'm gonna be a success, and I'm gonna show up. And right, people say it's bad, but was it really bad if that ended up being the catalyst for you to truly unlock your greatness and your potential, right? Most would argue no anymore, right? So this is what I mean. The events that happen in your life, they're all a gift. The good, the bad, right? Events just are. We're the ones that assign it meaning. But you have to remember, even the bad events can still end up being good and can still end up working in your favor. So it's about training yourself to see the good in every situation and finding the good in every situation, because you can make each and every moment enjoyable and make it a trip, because that's why we're here. We're here to have fun. We're here to enjoy our lives, right? I don't think anyone wants to be bored. I don't think anyone wants to be angry or furious or feel powerless, right? Everyone wants to be smiling from ear to ear, having a blast, enjoying moment to moment, because every day you wake up, it's a gift of life, a gift to have fun, a gift to make the most of this. And it's never guaranteed, right? And that's what you all should always keep in mind, right? So just have fun, just enjoy it, and you can enjoy life much more and improve the quality of your life significantly by appreciating everything that's happening in your life and accepting that everything that happens in your life is in fact a gift. So that wraps up the video. Enjoy the video. Do leave a like and subscribe, as we are on the road to 1 million subscriber, guys. So once again, it's Joel, and I'm out. I'll see you guys for the next video.